and being human, like really understanding it and conquering the humanness and actually falling in love with being human is really where the true work is at.
Welcome to Fortune and Romance with your host, Taylor Fortune and
B.A. Shay. Good, and you?
Very well, thank you. So B.A., let's get this off with a big bang here, okay? I know you like big bangs, so
we do. I do. We do, and I do.
I think we all do. I think our audience all likes it. I think it's quite the consensus among our crowd that big bangs are good. So tell us a little bit about your fucking day-to-day, because I know it has been an intense one.
I didn't sleep last night. I literally just tossed and turned. My mind doesn't shut off. Some nights, especially if I have to wake up super early, I could have 10 alarms, right, Taylor? And I could sleep through every single one if I really wanted to, because I can go into that deep REM sleep sometimes where I just can't get out of it. And I'm sure you've had that happen. Well, actually, no, I take that back, because you don't sleep at all.
I don't sleep, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah, that vampire life, right? Yeah. So, I was just kind of afraid to fall asleep. And so I kind of by 3 a.m. last night started kind of dozing a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? F this. I have to wake up at 6. I got to take a shower. I got to be on the road by 7. Traffic's going to be brutal on a Monday morning, driving to my lawyer's office. So I just didn't sleep last night. So I don't know how I'm awake right now, but here we are. And you're welcome.
Yeah.
So I got in my car. It took me 90 minutes to get to my lawyer's office this morning in Monday morning traffic. Got there, and I had to go on a Zoom call like you and I are recording right now.
Yeah.
And my ex and his lawyer, I don't even know if he changes lawyers all the time because he just doesn't pay them, but that's another story for another day. It's none of my business, and I don't really give a fuck. So he had to go to the courtroom, and I guess had the luxury of just going on Zoom and with my lawyer next to me, who's sexy as fuck. And
we've heard about that.
Yeah, we talked about the last episode. So, but there's nothing there. I'm just talking about his sexiness. There's nothing else to go off of, and he's smart. But anyways, so we finally went on call with the judge, and, he really didn't have a case, never had a case at all. And, I just don't want any more toxicity in my life, Taylor. I've left that situation. I've really just blown up. I started my own business. I met my soul family. You're part of that soul family. And I just I'm going to look back. I'm never going to take the shit I took before. I'm never going to be in a relationship where somebody mentally fucking abuses you. It's really sad. And there's a lot of things now that I just see that I didn't see before. And it's just a life lesson, So at the end of the day, I had a great morning because I ended up getting an extension of my restraining order. So I'm safe. We're good. No ex can mess with me. And I'm just going to keep going on. And we are going to take the world on, Taylor.
I love it. I love it. Now I understand why you're wearing the crown. I love it. You were the queen.
Hail to the queen.
Oh, man. Oh, so I'm going to let Ameera Beth in, and I think she actually might have a few things to say about this if we circle back around to toxic relationships, possibly emotional, domestic, psychological abuse. But yeah, so we're going to let her in right now, and we're just going to go from there.
Great.
Oh, there she is. Ameera Beth. Hey. Welcome to Fortune and Romance.
Ameera Beth. I'm Beth Ann. I love that we have like a mutual name.
Taylor and I just had that conversation in our little debriefing. I grew up as Elizabeth Ann.
Oh my gosh. So my grandmother's name is Elizabeth. That's so funny. And my other grandmother that just passed away last year is Angeline. So Beth Ann.
We're all super connected.
Yeah.
We're a connected soul family.
Oh, there it is. Ameera Atlantis. Yeah. Love it.
I love that background.
I know.
That's my new logo.
Oh, it's
That's
beautiful.
so dope.
So Ameera, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you? What's your background? And what's your spiritual practice?
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be the easy question, by the way. We're going to get darker in just a second.
I am an incarnated mer being. I'm an incarnated Atlantean mer being.
Wow.
And this discovery of my soul lineage, because I know that's like a big thing for like, who says that? But what the discovery of my soul lineage and my soul family, the rediscovery and the remembrance of that has set the foundation for everything that I do out in the world, in my spiritual life and in my service to others. And I would say probably the biggest contribution that I attempt to make with my clients, with my students, and in the collective is knowing that we are multidimensional beings, that our soul is so much greater than this cute little human bodies that we're squished into.
Right.
That we are multidimensional beings, and that our souls, the essences of our souls, come from somewhere else. And when we can tap into that and channel into the soul streams, the major aspects and dimensions of our personality, of our oversoul, it can really set the tone for purpose and the direction that our life is meant to go in this world, especially if we're meant to be out in service in the world in some way.
That's amazing. A living mermaid. I'll take that. I always wanted to be Ariel from The Little Mermaid. I always thought she was so hot with the red hair, just chilling with the fish.
Yeah, I can see that too. That is fucking amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
So you usually I go next into like some really dark question about who you are, but I'm so intrigued about your background. Like, how did you find this out? What started that path to that kind of spiritual position that you're in?
So I when I had my spiritual awakening about maybe 15, 16 years ago, when you go through your first spiritual awakening, especially if it's like a really dramatic, like, you've woken up out of a sleep like I did.
Okay. Talk about that for just a moment, because people's spiritual awakenings are always founded on some kind of trauma. And that's what BA and I, that's what we hone in on. So what led to the spiritual?
Mine was not on trauma.
Okay.
Mine was I was about 37 or 38 years old, and I was a mother of 3 children living in the suburbs, driving a minivan.
Wow.
And I thought that's all I was going to be. I thought that was my life, right? Living in Arizona. And one day and now looking back, I realized I got a lot of signs from spirit to awaken and to change, right? But you don't know what they are. But this one, I was watching a show on Oprah. And in December of 2004, she did a show on women in their 30s all around the world. And she, had some of them in by Zoom or whatever, the Skype, some of them on stage, and she was talking to them about what their lives were like. And these women, and some of them had lives kind of like mine, some of them had lives nothing like mine. But as I looked into each one of those women's eyes and I heard their story, and some of them had horrible, horrible, traumatic stories about, where they lived and where they grew up, I started bawling because I felt myself in every single one of those women's eyes. Like that was me, that was my sister. There was no delineation between me and that woman who I didn't even know. She was me. And I had never had any kind of a oneness type of experience before that. And I sat and I bawled through that entire show, and I felt like I was kind of losing my mind a little bit. And I couldn't get that show out of my head. Like for days, I would cry to the person I was married to and be like, these women on Oprah, I just love them. I don't know what to do, and he was like, what's happening to you?
Yeah.
But that the show impacted me, and it broke me so wide open, and it blasted open my heart chakra. And I realized that was my first encounter with goddess energy or the sacred feminine. That was my first real true connection with a sisterhood and feminine energy. And so after that, things unraveled very, very fast. And I started hearing my name being called in the middle of the night. And I started reading Wayne Dyer. And you know how you go and things start coming to you that put things in place. And And I went and saw this psychic reader that I'd seen for many, many years over silly stuff. And in January of 2005, and I sat down in front of her and I started to cry. And I said, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't stop crying. I'm having these weird experiences. I'm hearing my name called in the night. I feel like I'm losing my mind. And she said, oh, congratulations. You've woken up. I've been waiting years for this. And I looked at her and I said, put me back to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm not enjoying this. She's like, nope. Once you awaken, there's no turning back. And she kind of started to lay out the next years and months of my life, about what I would be doing, how I would be growing, the things I was stepping into.
Mercury retrograde.
Because I'm this mom in Arizona, suburbia, you know, with 3 little children, a husband, and like nobody around me was like me. So life progressed on, and within a couple of years, reading, studying, learning, growing, awakening, I started having these sensations happening in my body, where I would just meditate and yield, and this energy would just start flowing through my whole body involuntarily. And I didn't know what that was, of course, and nobody could tell me what that was, but it wasn't bad. It felt actually kind of like natural in a way, like familiar, this beautiful flowing movement. And I found that if I went to my family and moved my hands, remove my energy, I would take away headaches, you know, put them to sleep, all these kinds of things. But I still didn't know what was really happening. So really the way I came into my Myrness is I went to a past life regression therapist. And I said, I'm having all these things happen in my life, and I don't know what it is. I feel like a past life, you know, it's past life connected. And she put me on the couch and she put me in the hypnosis. And I immediately started jumping through the water on her couch like this, up and down, exclaiming, I'm a mermaid, I'm a mermaid. And I felt myself swimming down, and I saw Atlantis. I saw this underwater city, and I just kept saying, I'm a mermaid. And so she took me through this really beautiful experience where I became the full embodiment of my mer self in the water. And all these downloads came to me, started arriving to me about who I was, who my soul was, and what I was supposed to start doing in the world.
Wow.
Well,
that is so cool.
You know, I came out of that experience, and I decided to just step fully into exploring what this is and what this meant, reading everything I could about, I didn't even know mermaids were a real thing.
They are. Right? They are.
Yeah. And so just start exploring and discovering. And then I became a past life regression therapist through this healer, because it impacted my life so much, to learn about my avatars, to learn about my other selves and my other life experiences that are affecting me in this life. You know, and eventually started a YouTube channel, and Spirit just said, it's time for you to come forward and start claiming yourself as a mer, talking about being a mer being, and specifically talking about the great kingdom of Atlantis, and how Atlantis and the return of Atlantis with the mer beings is a real thing. And so that's kind of was like the first few years of my journey that have brought me to Ameera, Atlantis now.
Wow.
I've always wanted to go to Atlantis, guys. I've had many friends that have gone there, and they say it's the most beautiful place.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so
there was Atlantis above the water, and then there's Merlantis below the water. There's the Mer Kingdom.
So
there's actually 2. There is actually 2.
Okay,
and
so
I'm a liaison between worlds.
I want to ask this now. When we're talking about the lost city of Atlantis or Merlantis, are you talking about a physical, tangible place, or are you talking about a place that exists in a different dimension in a different time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's very cool.
Yeah. So unpack that a little bit, because, you know, we're very open-minded, all of us. I mean, we work with star seeds, Reiki healers, tarot, and astrologers and all that. But I'd say a lot of people, even in the spiritual community, may not necessarily think mermaids are real. And I think what you're talking about is mermaids on a more multidimensional plane than physically swimming next to a dolphin in the ocean. Right.
They're interdimensional beings. We are interdimensional beings. We can come into 3D, and we have. I mean, there's history that talks about sailors and mythology seeing, you know, mermaids in the flesh. So we are interdimensional. And, have you noticed over the past years that mermaid iconography is everywhere?
I was going to jump in because not to interrupt you, but have you heard of the guy? He was just recently, a month ago. I just found this literally 2 nights ago when I couldn't sleep. So I actually could use you to help me fall asleep some night if you can help me fall asleep. But anyways, there was a guy who is he's a fisherman, and he became famous on TikTok because he actually could hear the mermaids. There was actually a sound. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I have him. I was just gonna show it on his name is like Sauce90, and then the government. I don't. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh wow. Yeah. I don't. So this is fascinating. Keep going.
Okay. One moment.
So
this guy heard them singing.
Siren song.
It was so loud. Let me get to the video.
Yeah.
It made me a believer. I'll find the video in a moment.
Well, okay, let me ask Ameera, while you're looking for the video, Ameera, is this something that you feel like is kind of verifiable, this TikTok video?
Well, I absolutely believe that there are people out there having experiences with the mer. Absolutely, I believe they're having, just like people have encounters with ETs.
Right.
Why wouldn't you have, why not all kinds of interdimensional creatures?
It was also really fishy too, that right after
was it fishy?
Video, the government
was it fishy?
It was very fishy.
Yeah.
And the government, right after he posted this video, they had the whole government came to where he docked the boat, and then they had it was like a scientific they were doing experimentation. He posted the whole thing, and then miraculously 2 days later he got into a car accident. He said somebody followed him.
Wow.
Because he's talking about the truth, and they don't want to talk about what's going on. Like, I fully, after seeing this documentary with him and everything he's talked about with everyone else, I believe the mermaids now tenfold. You can't convince me otherwise.
Right.
Fight me.
Fight me, bitch.
Okay, now
A mermaid.
This is great because I'm totally new to this subject of interdimensional mermaids. I've heard of a lot of different other types of interdimensional beings. I'm very fascinated with this. I don't rule anything out. But Ameera, one question I want to ask you before we even unpack more about where they're from and what their purpose is, or what your purpose is how did people in your life react to this transformation that you went through in embracing this new identity?
That's a really great question, because my my household and my immediate family are just very 3D normal Catholic people.
BA.
And Catholic for me was like a shoe that never fit, but it was like all I knew. And so when I read the Da Vinci Code at the onset of my awakening, and had a freak out over learning the truth, and kind of denounced my religion, and then went deeper and deeper into all the metaphysical things, when I didn't come right out to my family and say, well, guess what, I'm a mermaid. It was kind of, but I kind of slow dripped them, and I was very
slow
open
drips.
Talking about my my experiences. Slow drips. And because I knew that there was a transformation into my greater life's purpose that was trying to happen. And if I didn't talk about it, even if they thought I was crazy, that once I went full on into it, I had to prep them. I had to get my parents, my sisters, the man I was married to, my kids, I had to prep them, because I knew I couldn't stop. And I knew if I suppressed it or kept it hidden or didn't talk about it or did it in secret, that I would die.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just kind of have decided to have no fucks to give. And I just, and Ameera is actually my mermaid name. It was given to me in meditation. And about 9 years ago, I started going by it. And about 7 or 8 years ago, I changed to it legally. My legal full name is Ameera Beth. And when I
can't. I love this.
When I went through being, Beth, everybody knew me as Beth or Elizabeth. And I shed, my married name, my birth name. I got divorced. And of course, you end up getting divorced when you go through something like this. The marriage just usually can't hang.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I know all about that. Oh, moment of Mercury retrograde.
Mortified, actually. My family was. they're mortified. They could
Mortified.
not wrap their mind around what I was doing and how this was happening. And I went through 3 levels of past life regression training. I started seeing clients. I started channeling and doing YouTube videos and really talking about Atlantis. And as much as their eyes just spun in their head, I just had to do it. Like, I just had to find every ounce of bravery inside of me because I was so excited to have a purpose.
Yeah.
Like,
when you find your purpose, it's so exciting.
And I was in that kind of like fake life of being a wife and a mother. And although I love being a mom, like the whole thing was very canned. Yeah. And it was very the family expectation. And the minute I broke out of that and found out that I'm actually here to serve a purpose on this planet, and it's like this crazy.
Yeah.
I just beeline for it. I just did it. So, and then, I moved to Kauai almost six years ago from Portland. I started doing retreats over here about 8 years ago, bringing people back and forth. And from the minute I got here, I told my family, I said, I'm going to move to Kauai. Kauai is my home. Like, I have to go.
Oh my God. Kauai is, Clara Taylor.
Yeah.
My best friend, Clara, she met her soulmate in Kauai. She found her home. She believes she belongs there. She went to Kauai. She walked around barefoot the whole time. She just felt at one with the earth. Yeah. I wish I could get Clara on this live right now, but I know she has her kids right now. I didn't even know until just now that you were from Hawaii.
Yep, I'm in Kauai. And, I told my family for a couple of years I was going to move. They didn't believe me.
Yeah.
And then one day I came home from a Kauai trip. I said, I can't come back to Portland anymore. I said, I'm selling everything and I'm moving after the first of the year. And I mean, I literally sold everything in my house. My kids had been grown and I packed bags and I moved on a wing and a prayer to come over here and build my, my fishy kingdom.
I'm going to have my friend Clara reach out to you because she she definitely feels like she had a past life in Kauai. And there's a lot going on. So I'm going to have her reach out to you for sure.
Yeah. It's a magical place for sure.
Yeah.
Said that. I haven't gone yet. I want to go so bad.
I had my honeymoon in Kauai and it was the beginning of the end of my marriage.
Oh, Taylor.
Well, Kauai is a huge catalyst for whatever needs to break free in your life. Like, it's a huge healer. And sometimes that healer doesn't look very pretty.
That's amazing that you say that because that's when I had a resurgence in my sarcoidosis autoimmune disease. Mm-hmm. And I went to Kauai with it, like just starting to come back. And I left Kauai practically on a stretcher needing like immediate medical attention. So yeah,
wow.
There's power there. I felt it. And it was definitely like a huge splinter in our union, so to say.
Yeah, Mama Kauai will put it right in your face.
Oh, it was fucking right on Front Street.
A lot of people move here and they can't stay.
Yeah.
Because it's too intense, and you get your lessons, you get tested all the way around. It's not easy to live here, even though it's beautiful. And a lot of people come and they have to peace out. They have to go within a year or two or less because they just, they're not ready, or it's just not time, or they have to go back to wherever they came from and finish the work.
Right.
This is reminding me, Taylor, so my birthday is in November. So last November, I went with my sister to Sedona, Arizona, to Enchantment Resort, which that place is the craziest vortex. So the energies are just insane.
Yeah.
They say people go there as couples and they'll leave separately. Like the energies is just insane. So like, I went there. A lot of Taylor's probably laughing to himself. I went. Shut up, Taylor.
There's a whole backstory we're not going to get into here, but yes, talk about the energy vortex.
But no, I went with my sister, and literally, I don't know what happened, but my sister and I were at dinner, and it's just like we just lashed out at each other. Like, she lashed out at me, and I was like, fuck you. She's like, fuck you. And I'm like it was, the energies were insane. Like, nothing I've ever experienced before. It was like enraged, like emotions that like we didn't express to each other. And it was like, this was the place to do it. It was crazy.
Wow.
Like, we almost left separately, but like, it's my sister, we live it to death, but it was just a crazy vortex.
Broke you wide open.
Yeah.
I almost killed the bartender too. He's pissing me off too. I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, they have to legally stop serving you at 2 a.m.
I don't know. Not with me. I just like give them a smile. I'm like, another tequila. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Well, Ameera, do you actually, just on a side note, do you know anything about that energy vortex of the spot that she's talking about in Sedona?
I've been to Sedona, like I've been there several times, and the whole place is a vortex.
Yeah.
You know, but there are those specific places like the Enchantment Resort where if you know, whatever the earth there or the mana there is ready to move in you and move up out of you and like release your shadows.
Yeah.
You know, make those shadows comes up. It'll be happening. And a lot of people aren't ready when they come to someplace like Kauai or Sedona or whatever that's really powerful. Not quite ready for what's going to be shown to them.
Yeah.
I was ready for some reason. I like knew in the back of my head like what was gonna happen just intuitively. And then when it came out, I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I knew you were gonna snap.
Oh, not only that, BA, little piece of trivia in your life. What happened as a result of your Sedona trip?
I mean, like, as in the relationship with my family member, or
no.
What do you mean? What the fuck do you? What do you mean, Taylor? Where you going with this?
What fucking person did you meet as a result of your Sedona trip?
Oh,
okay.
I have nothing bad to say about.
No. Me. Remember me?
Okay. Oh. Well, yeah. Well, wait a minute. When exactly did I meet you? Right before that or after that trip? I really
right
don't
after. When you had questions about what went down on the trip with the energy vortex, who did you go to get a tarot card reading?
I went to you. You're right. Okay, it's all coming back. It's all coming back.
Yeah.
It's all coming back to me now. Yeah, Celine Dion song. Yeah, it's coming back to me. I remember now.
That is
Nice
the history of me and BA. Is she came back from that trip and sought out a little spiritual guidance from one fucking Taylor Fortune on Instagram. Boom, that's how we met, and that's the origin story of you and I right now.
Yeah. You're so right. Oh my god, how did I not remember that? There was so many crazy things that happened during that trip that like my mind was like, you know?
No, I know. It was a pretty transformative trip in like every aspect of your life.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Ameera, back to you a little bit. So past life regression, I've done a session with you on that. It's interesting stuff to say the least. Like, tell us a little bit about that. Cause I know a lot of people have heard the term, but not a lot of people actually understand what that's about or what your technique is. What the fuck is past life regression?
Well,
I've never heard of it.
You never,
there really is no past, present, and future, right? We know that past life regression is really just the best term we can come up with to describe a process where you get to go visit another version of yourself. And I think that when the term past life regression was, developed or invented or whatever in the 60s or 70s, the understanding of time being linear, not being linear, was not really available. So we have this impression, or we're taught linear time, past, present, future. And so I think the original developers of hypnosis, taking people into another lifetime that often looked like a past life because you were doing something before this in linear time, that was the label that came down. But it actually, time happens all at once. It really moves more like in a spiral with layers. And everything, every reality is happening all at the same time. So when you go into a past life regression, you're really visiting a version of yourself that is alive and well in existence at the same time you are here.
So quick question, do you have to hypnotize somebody to know what their past? Okay, all right.
So I use hypnosis or trance, and I just talk people down into a light state of hypnosis that allows their subconscious to open and access what's already in there. You're already connected to your memory bank, to your Akashic records, to your whatever you want to call it. You're connected to all information of the universe, right?
Right.
Sometimes we just need somebody to come in and sort of like have the key to unlock the ability to access specific information. So when people come to me, it's typically with a specific reason, something they want to know, something they want to remember, somebody they want to know, and they want to go to that part of them where they exist, where that's happening, find out why and why it's affecting them here in this reality.
I want to get hypnotized. I've never been hypnotized before. And my mom has been hypnotized to quit smoking, and she said it worked.
Yeah. Well, and we actually, it's a natural state for all of us. So we hypnotize ourselves every day. Like, have you ever driven home and you pull in your driveway and you can't remember the last mile?
Yeah, that has happened to me, actually.
You've hypnotized yourself. Or like when you read a book and the whole rest of the world is falling away and all you know is that book. That's self-hypnosis, because you're so focused on something that everything else around you is like kind of a blur and you go on automatic pilot. So it's the same type of process. I just use an induction through my wording that entrains you to focus on my words, my sound and the voice that talk you into this other realm or other dimension.
That's so cool. I feel like I would be the hardest person to put under hypnosis because I feel like I've tried something called Marconics. And for some reason, I don't know what happened. Maybe I just had too much coffee in the morning. I couldn't get myself to that meditative state.
Did you have an actual facilitator or did you listen to it?
I had a facilitator. I paid for it. So I went to someone that did it, and she's had great reviews. She's up, she's like an hour away from me. I drove to her, and I did it, and I was like I wouldn't say I wasted my money whatsoever. I feel like she has a great gift. I just couldn't get myself to relax.
Well, and so the biggest, anytime anybody has a problem with hypnosis or resistance, is because they're not taught how to see.
Help me, girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
So some people get everybody expects to see something. You expect to go in hypnosis and people expect to like have all these visions. That does not always happen. I don't see shit. I don't see anything when I go into regression. I feel, I sense, and I know. So you have to have a facilitator that explains to you. You may not see a thing. You'll go to your other senses and help you tune into your other senses, your intuition, and that part of you that has a sensing or a knowingness of what's happening in this other reality. So when you can get someone to first tell you, like, you might experience it this way, then it opens you up to the possibility that you don't have to see something to validate your experience. It teaches you to be multisensory.
That makes total sense. For example, I've had Reiki done in person as of recently, about a couple weeks ago, and I felt a lot lighter. I did a lot of cord cutting with somebody.
Yeah.
I needed it done desperately, and I felt lighter. My relationships with certain people, I felt were a lot better as well. But I also did a distance Reiki healing a couple months ago, and I was laying in bed, I did everything, and I felt it. It was like tingling from my head to my toes. So the fact that someone can even do that is so mind-blowing to me. I believe in all of this stuff because I've had it done to me before, and it's not just my head playing tricks on me. Because sometimes you think, you're like, all right, is this really happening, or am I just like, it's almost like taking like a sugar pill, and it's like, okay, is this really like a sugar pill, or is this like something that the pharmaceutical industry is giving me? Like, am I, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
is it real? Yeah, exactly.
Well, energy, everything is energy, right? Everything. Right. And it knows no time, space, or distance.
Right.
So energetically, we're exchanging energy right here, even though we're not in the same physical proximity. You can feel my energy, I can feel yours, Taylor's, and it's an exchange that goes around. So it's really no different if you're working with some kind of a practitioner. And, and I do all my sessions online. I do them all by Zoom or by phone because I live on an island.
Yeah, God bless you. It must be so beautiful to wake up to that every day.
It is. It really, I never take 1 minute of it for granted. I still like drive over the hill into town and go, oh my God, there's the ocean.
Right.
Right.
So, energy is something that we're all sharing and transforming and emitting and absorbing all the time. So it makes perfect sense that you would be one place and the practitioner would be another, and she would be extending you energy that you have agreed to receive, because agreement is really important. I am a big believer in consent, right? I will not send anybody energy unless I have their permission. which is different than praying for somebody and praying for their best outcome. But to specifically send somebody or work on somebody energetically, I believe always must have consent and agreement from that person, not their higher self. Their human self needs to say, yes, I give you permission to share your energy with me or to send me energy. So that's just my stance on.
I love all this. So my question is, so you're asking for consent before you send your good vibes to the person from Hawaii. Yeah. And that's amazing. So I have a question because I was reading some things and is it possible to send dark energy to somebody? Because I felt within the past year, I was having dark energy sent to me, which is why
people do that all the time. People do that all the time. Black magic, right? Right. And so we can send all kinds of energy forms. You can send good, happy, joyful, healing energy, or I mean, everybody's been sent bad energy by somebody, and you've sent bad energy to other people, maybe not intentionally, but anytime you think an unkind thought or an angry thought about somebody, that thought is an energy form, and it's like an arrow, and it goes out and it can find them and it can connect to them. And maybe you're not trying to do anything malevolent, but just that like angry, like that sends that out to that person and they're affected.
Now, how would you say in a situation like that? Now, we're obviously with you, we're talking about 11 lights, healing people, but when it comes to the dark energy, what would you recommend if you have a recommendation for somebody to protect themselves from that? Is there anything you can do to protect yourselves from, let's say, people that just don't wish the best, they just wish ill on you?
So there's kind of multiple answers to that question. And that's one of the things I do is help people fortify their energy field. And we have an aura that's around us, right? Everybody's got an aura. Everything has an aura. It's above our head, below our feet, side to side, front to back. But very few people understand what their aura is for. Right. Do you know what your aura is for?
No, I would love to know though.
Well,
Taylor,
do you know about that? Your energy. It's to contain your energy.
That's what I was going to say, but I didn't get a chance. But anyway, that's good.
And
we agree.
You hold your energy. So we're energy emitters, right? And we're also energy absorbers. So unless you understand about your aura and your energy field and understand how to manage your own energy, protect your energy, most humans just pick up and absorb everything and everything else from everybody, right? We're big sponges.
This is why I don't talk to a lot of people. I've learned to distance myself from so many people, like energy vampires, people that just want me around because they see my bright light and Taylor, I've talked to you about this before, but I go to parties sometimes or events within like my industry, and I'll go in and people just gravitate towards me. It's like stink on shit. Yeah. I'm not shit, but you know what I mean? I'm the light, and people like my energy is just so infectious, and I'm like, wow! And people around me, I feel like they're just like, nah, like zombies. And if I'm not there, I feel like people notice that.
Yeah, I know exactly what you are. You have charisma. It's like moth to the flame there.
It's a magnetic thing.
I know. I'm trying to save you.
On shit.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
It's a magnetic thing, and remember, we are always vibrating and drawing in frequencies in the form of other people often, according to what we're emitting.
Right.
Okay, so because that's just a simple basics metaphysics 101 law of attraction. As whatever we are emitting, that is going to end up being some kind of a mirroring in our lives. So the more that we can learn to understand and kind of manage, even shield and protect our own energy, our own aura, the more those people kind of will bounce off. I am a person who tends to get some attention out in the world also, magnetize all different kinds of people to me, but I have really good boundaries, which means most people, if it's, maybe attention or something that is not very friendly, most people will stand outside of my energy field because they can feel coming off of me that there's a barrier here and that I'm not going to entertain any, whatever. And I'm also not afraid to speak to people and tell them. I'm also not afraid to speak to people and tell them when they're over the line. So boundaries are always an internal thing before they come an external thing. And so
That
it's
makes a lot of
very
sense.
important for humans to learn about energy management and responsibility, and whatever we are, whatever is coming through us, whatever we are emitting and magnetizing to us, somehow is like a reflection of something within and around us. Not to say that there's not assholes out there, because there are. There are just people who aren't going to respect boundaries no matter what we try and do. But then that's when we go to that place inside of us that puts up that, like, you know, thou shalt not pass, be gone with you, you know, using our voice or our power or whatever to, you know, to get them to go away. So
Exactly.
it's a very tricky thing.
It's hard. I feel like I used to give off like the energy of like, come and talk to me because I'm the life of the party and I'm a good soul and everything. And
Yeah.
then as of recently, I have put up boundaries within things I've experienced within the past year, and just not putting up with bullshit that I think
Yeah.
I get. And my bullshit detector is so strong right now that I feel like no one can fuck with me. So
Yeah.
I go out and I am the life of the party, but I also see people and I can feel their vibration. And I notice that they like want to maybe talk to me, but they're like afraid of me. But like I'm inviting, but I'm not. It's the
Yeah.
weirdest thing.
Well, you're a Scorpio, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. There it
There
is.
you go.
What are you, Ameera? What's your sign? What are some of your signs?
I'm a Pisces, of course.
Oh, of
Oh.
course. How about moon and rising?
Libra moon and Aquarius rising.
I'm an
I like
Aquarius
that.
rising too.
I was born in a grand water trine. And so my Pisces is the Lemurian side of me. My Aquarius, which I seem to come more and more into the older I get, is my Atlantean. And then the Libra is like the balancer of both worlds, and that masculine and feminine in the middle.
I love it.
That's kind of how I see it anyway.
Yeah.
My lawyer's a sexy Libra.
I thought your lawyer was a Virgo.
Is he? Is he a Virgo?
Yeah, you're mixing it up because Libra is the scales of justice. So you're thinking lawyer.
Shit. Sorry. I'm thinking of my sexy friend Luana. I'm sorry. I'm messing them both up. You're 100% right, Taylor. Thanks
Yeah.
for putting me in line.
I always remember
Sexy
people's
too.
signs. Yeah. Actually, I wanted to ask BA a question because past life regression, and I've done a session with Ameera. BA, have you ever had images from a past life that you have known to be real that you would like to dive deep into in a past life regression session?
So I have, and I probably say a couple years ago, I don't know if I was getting scammed. I don't know, but I did talk to a psychic person, and it was just a trying time in my life, and I just was seeking answers. And, you know, she told me that I was like a queen in my past life. I lived the royalty,
Yeah.
you know, and all this la-di-da. And I'm like, all right, well, that makes sense. You know, I mean, we can make that happen today.
Yeah. Don't
But-
threaten me with being a queen.
Yeah, exactly. So she said that to me, and I was like, well, I like my past life. Let's go back.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and you probably carry that archetype. You know, you probably naturally carry that queen archetype within you. And maybe you didn't understand, like you felt like a queen or needed to, you know, be treated like a queen, but you have that archetypal energy and that other lifetime energy that's still like, it's part of your oversoul.
Yeah. All she needs is a green screen to go with her crown so we can actually see it.
It's funny. I do have a green screen, Taylor, as you know, but I've been just using the Zoom backdrop. So
Yeah.
the next episode, so you can see my crown,
Yeah.
I'm going to have the backdrop of the green screen. Okay? All right?
Oh my God.
Do you want to see my crown?
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I do want to see your crown. Who doesn't want to see your crown? Taylor, where's your fucking crown?
I'm wearing my crown right now. It's my
All
aura.
right.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
You're like a superhero.
Yeah, that's definitely like a Wonder Woman-esque kind of crown.
I am actually. I have the full regalia Wonder Woman outfit that I've been probably wearing for 20 years.
Wow.
I still wear it every Halloween and beyond. And, you know, I just had my progressed heart, Jen Taylor. My progressed heart, I'm a Taurus.
Oh yeah.
And the asteroid Athena
Mm-hmm.
is in Taurus, like first out, right there. And the person who gave me the reading said, Ameera, you have to become like Wonder Woman, this
Right.
Wonder Woman warrior. And I started laughing. I'm like, I got this.
Absolutely.
I got the costume and everything.
Pallas Athena, the asteroid of truth, justice, and liberty. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And named after the Greek goddess Athena, the goddess of wisdom.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I want to be a mermaid. Not just for Halloween either. I mean, I want to be a mermaid.
You can be a mermaid. You're going to be a great mermaid this Halloween.
I really think I might want to dress up as a mermaid. I want to get a red wig like Ariel.
You can go on Etsy and find some fun, cute little.
I do. I support all the small business owners on Etsy for like everything I buy. I really do. I love all that stuff. So I'll find someone else. I'll find a small business owner and I'll hook them up.
Ameera, I want to ask you a question about relationships, because this is a pretty strong transformation you went through with, at the time, married with kids, ultimately led to a divorce, and stepping into that new world, that new spiritual person that you are now. Have you met people that have been, have you met like another guy or girl, whatever you like, but have you been in romantic relationships with people that truly support who you are and what you do and are on like the same page?
Well, God, that's a really interesting. I mean, I would say yes. I've met a lot of spiritual men because this island is full of them.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing as I say that, right?
Yeah, I kind of sense that. Very spiritual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wait, so they're not spiritual?
Well, they're like goofballs.
Oh, that sucks.
I mean, I guess there's a lot of forms of spirituality.
You're talking about kind of just generic hippie type dudes who hang out on the island and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because all the girls on this island think they are Shakti and all the men think they are Shiva. And they're a ecstatic dance and they're very holy. And it's all very much like a show, and it's not like really grounded spirituality.
Right.
Really grounded. It's very spiritual bypassing here. And because, so many people are trying to work on their higher chakras, but they're living in their car and they're, living on a farm and they're showing up but the rooting and the grounding into our lower chakras and conquering those energies, those shadows, clearing up that familial stuff and being human, like really understanding it and conquering the humanness and actually falling in love with being human is really where the true work is at. If you can accomplish some level of healing in that area, all this other stuff's just icing on the cake.
Yeah.
So I guess this is a roundabout way of saying that yes, of course, I've met like all kinds of men on this island. I have been involved with some men who, I thought were very spiritual, but actually turned out to be very narcissistic and very controlling, and even maybe a little bit, dangerous, and gotten myself in a situation here for a while back that was very not kind and honoring to who I was. But I realized that this very narcissistic relationship, it was the catalyst to teach me about a pattern that I had had with men all through my life where I didn't honor my own worthiness and I didn't honor my own boundaries. And it got really serious and very unkind to wake me up, like to really show me that it doesn't matter what past life connection or what you have with somebody. What matters is how they're treating you in the here and now. And if you're being honored and respected, and the entanglements that we, especially as women and probably men too, get ourselves in the name of love or in the name of what we think is love, which is actually manipulation. Like unwinding
oh my God.
stories.
I'm relating to this so hard right now. I'm sorry. Oh my God.
I'm finding that from the collective mind and from our programming is very, very important. And so since the delusion of that relationship, which ended up with a restraining order.
I think we just became best friends. I think we just became best friends.
guilt and really unwinding the shame and the guilt that went along with how could I get myself and the anger and unwinding the blame against him for putting that and taking self-responsibility, because all these things are about self-responsibility and about choice. If I'm going to choose to be in a relationship with a manipulator and try and save him, heal him, whatever, I'm going to get what I deserve.
Oh my God. You're making BA's head spin. Go ahead, BA.
I'm sitting in my chair in my office right now. Everything you just said is exactly the situation I dealt with my past that led me to my great awakening.
Yeah.
Because I dealt with everything you just said and I wanted to heal the person. I'm like, you can be a better person. I can heal you. I'm like, I'm a healer. You know, you're not this person. Wow. I went through fucking hell and back. Dating a narcissist, sociopath, making them like they make you seem like you're crazy. It's insane. And it's just like, wow, I'm really not the problem. You're the fucking problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the bigger picture is I let the problem in.
I invited do we invite this shit into our lives? Like I feel like I invited it.
Problem. So, I mean, boundaries always go back to this gal. Responsibility always go back to this gal.
Right.
And so breaking free of my patterning with, needy men, narcissistic men, alcoholic, addictive men, and really reclaiming myself and my power and my sovereignty, and even, not dating for a while. And when I'm dating, like really recognizing, that I'm not going to allow that kind of patterning back in, like having those boundaries has been, and it's elevated me in my work and in the authenticity of my work, a huge, huge deal. And I'm actually not even mad at any of them anymore. I'm like, all right, well, we did that.
It's so crazy.
It's an experiment, but thank you for the lesson. And I don't think I'll have that experience ever again.
Yeah. When you get to that point where you can forgive that person because you know that they have had either childhood trauma that led.
Hold for Mercury retrograde. Stand by for Mercury retrograde. Oh man.
Frozen. I like this Frozen Taylor.
Time.
There we go.
That was a good Frozen. Like you could have like been like, but like, you look sexy just frozen there. So we're good.
Oh, I did? Oh, I appreciate that.
No, you did. You did.
Good. Well, that's what I was going for. So okay, so now that I'm back to my normal ugly self, what were you saying? Because it did cut the line did cut off.
Oh no, it's okay. So what we were saying is that when I feel like when we truly can forgive the people that have hurt us, that's when we've, for the most part, healed. I think that's, the fact that I can forgive my past for what they did to me. I feel like I've healed.
And some people call it zero pointing, when you can neutralize the emotions and neutralize the energy and the anger, and their name doesn't trigger you, or something from the past doesn't trigger you, and you can zero point that. Like that's when you really know that you've achieved a level of healing from the situation.
I'm going to call that now. The new word, zero pointing. I'm zero pointing you.
Yeah, I like that. I'm not fully sure I understand the concept yet of zero pointing. I don't know. Just say it one more time for the people in the back.
Zero pointing is really about, so everything is a contrast. Everything is a polarity, right?
Yeah.
Good, bad, right, wrong.
Sure.
Everything is duality. And so usually when we have an experience that's traumatic or has brought us trauma, we label that with all the things, all the hard labels, and that's part of the healing process.
Yeah.
And then the polarity of that is like the opposite, where it's all good, fun, love, and light, and we actually kind of prefer that. So when you zero point something, you look at both ends of the polarity, and you don't feel like you're triggered by the negative stuff anymore, and you don't feel like you have to have only that to be happy or whole. You kind of zero point it into this neutral place where it's all okay, and it doesn't happen to have an emotional charge to it, connected to it. When you no longer have the emotional charge, you know you've at a process of healing it. And then you simply go into, well, this actually feels better over here. So because I opt to feel better and feel joyful in life, I'm going to gear my choices, because we are our choices. I'm going to gear my choices more into this direction, but like still be amused by that direction.
Yeah.
That's a great explanation of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm not there yet all the time, but I think I'm getting closer and closer to, like, it comes as an idea, like it's an idea or a thought in your head. But when you can actually really embody it and speak from a place of your own authority and your own sovereignty, when we come deeper into our own authority and can embody these concepts, then we get to walk through life as a healed person, you know, as a sovereign person, and more in our natural blueprint of wholeness, instead of like these scattered, fractured, you know, fragmented pieces that are trying to find their way around.
Absolutely. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Ameera Atlantis, I like you. You're a cool chick.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ameera, well, why don't you give us all your information? Tell us where people can find you, where they can book an appointment. You know, you can plug anything you want right now.
Okay. So the coolest thing I want to mention is I've started a church. Actually, it's a temple. I started a temple. About a month ago, I got this download when I was running. I was very upset because so many people were out there in the world losing their jobs because, you know, they weren't going to get the jab. And all these people I was watching who were like going to be laid off because, or having to take it because they couldn't feed their families or themselves unless they did it. And it just really bothered me that so many of these people did not have a resource or an out that says something legal that says, I can't get this because of this. And one of those things would be a religious exemption, you know, belonging to some kind of a spiritual community where the tenet of your belief, the foundation of your belief was a pure, organic, whole body in communion and connection with the divine, and nothing exterior, you know, coming in to alter that. So God said, start a church. And I was like, what? Yeah, he says, like, start a church. So I went very quickly on this path to learn, and I'll give you the condensed Reader's Digest version because this is important information for people to know. I've been studying law, not fake law, real law. There's two different sets of law in this world. One is the fake law that we're taught in school or that is taught in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Real law is not taught to us. We don't get a civics class explaining to us rights and privileges that we have as a human.
Correct.
In this country.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a whole other world of law out there that the elite know.
Yo, the elite know everything, don't they?
They practice that we can do too if somebody just tells us. So the information came to me very, very quickly that I could start my church, not as a state church under the code. The corporation code is 501.
501 BSC. Yeah.
There's another way. It's called a 508, which is considered a free church. A 508c1a is a free church, and it is a beyond government overreach, which means that you don't have to fire IRS, first of all, and it's like you and I coming together in our living room and having a meeting. And so I incorporated under a 508, which is a free church. We can talk politics, we can talk whatever we want. The other thing I did is put it together under what's called a private membership association. Okay, so this is a private community. This is not a government mandated community. And if I had, for instance, a true brick and mortar, we're online, no one could tell me how many people to have in my building. No one could tell me we had to wear masks. Okay, so it's private. It's like, again, coming together in our living rooms and talking private business. So the Democratic National Party and the Republican National Party are all PMAs. All the elite do this. Back in Prohibition, when like some, you know, most of the facilities couldn't get liquor, but a few could. Those few could because they're private membership associations.
The private members.
They could do whatever they wanted. So under this house, and it's called Temple of the New Atlantis. That's the name of my church, Temple of the New Atlantis. Under this format, we can come together and discuss anything we want. We don't have to obey any government regulations because it's private business between me and you as my member as you decide to join. So you sign something that says you're willing to become a member, and what happens in the temple stays in the temple.
Now, is this online as well?
Yeah.
So I could join your temple from Boston.
You could, yeah. It's all an online community because that's what we're doing.
Right.
I wanted to create something that was egalitarian, masculine and feminine equality, ecclesiastical faith-based, that was based on the 7 sacred laws of Atlantis, okay, and a panentheistic community where we honor God is in everything. And I wrote a beautiful religious medical exemption for people.
Wow.
And I had 40 people join in like 2 weeks. And many of these people said, I need a medical exemption to save or religious exemption to save my job. And I sent this to them. And there are people who can still continue to work and feed their families because they are part of a legitimate organization. I have a website. I have my articles of association. I have my bylaws. I have an EIN number. I have everything in place that makes me a legal entity that also allows us to create something that is new earth driven. That is not old earth, old structure driven.
Okay, so for quick question. So I know about 3 nurses in Boston right now that as of October 1st, they had to quit their jobs because they refused to get the jab. So if they reached out to you, even though they've already left their job, can they get this medical exemption from you, or is it too late?
It depends on their organization. There are a lot of companies, organizations who are like, we don't care about your religious injection. We don't care about your spirituality.
And that's ridiculous.
But yeah. And so everything that is supposed to be constitutionally ours is out the window, right? There's no constitution, right? We are really not, I'm learning through real law, we are really not we the people.
No.
That it's not a real thing. And the only thing to become, in that category is to emancipate from the United States of America and become a state national, which is another topic. But
Taylor, you coming with me?
Oh yeah, I believe in sedition and state sovereignty.
Right. Yeah, you coming, Atlantis? Let's go.
I'm already in process with.
Yeah, she's already like out. She's like, I'm ready to go.
See what's gonna happen in the country. Like I see what's happening. And I'm learning about real law. I'm learning online from a man named David Straight, who works for the real president, not the fake president. And he teaches real law. And you can go to a seminar or you can learn from him online. And what I'm learning is pissing me off, but it's setting me free because I'm recognizing the lies and the deception that we have been. It's a whole nother level than what people think. It's like way beyond, I love the fact that I love America. I consider myself patriotic, but that whole thing, like, that's not really true either. We don't have rights under the Constitution.
We don't. And once you go down that rabbit hole, you can't go back. Like, I'm so far down, I'm like, nothing is real around me. Everything is fake. I was born into a lie.
Right. So templeofthenew.atlantis.org is where you can find my temple online. And I have a beautifully written piece about the 7 sacred laws of Atlantis, the law of one, and our belief system that is not a doctrine or a dogma, but an agreement. And if you feel in alignment with these philosophies, then this is a community for you. It's a safe space. It's a space where I will hold online temple and we'll have very open discussions about anything happening in the world or what's happening in your life and how I can support and how we can support each other as community. If some of these mandates happen, and for instance, we can't go into a grocery store unless we have a private membership association. If someone decides to open up a farm or a grocery store under that heading, guess what? We have resources. There are ways we can legally create new community or the new Atlantis for ourselves. And I feel like I'm trying to pave the way to help that information get out there.
Good.
So that other people know, the point is nobody knows, nobody knows this is available. So it's empowering. This kind of knowledge allows us to take action that empowers us and allows us to not feel like a victim or feel like, what are we going to do? Right. And so the new communities that will come up need this knowledge, this information, and they need leaders. They need people to go forward and make moves and create these different communities so that we can continue to have a life. And we don't even want that life. Like, I don't want that life.
No one wants that life. It's nonsense. We're going to put your information too at the bottom of this video when we post it on next Monday. Okay. So people can get in touch with you to join your group, because it's really inspiring. And geez, I'm ready to join Atlantis. What about you, Taylor?
It's $22 $22 for a lifetime membership.
I love it. Not only that, I've always had my own dream of starting my own church, the Temple of Fortune. And I think there'd be a lot of overlap between our ideological,
Taylor,
political and religious ideas.
I can help you do it. Absolutely, you should create create a community that is in alignment with your purpose, with your core beliefs, and how you want to contribute to building the new Earth Atlantis.
I love it.
I love it too, Taylor. Get on it, honey. You got to get on it.
I know, right?
They're going to be afraid of us. That's why they're trying to dumb us all down by taking all this bullshit. We need to stand strong together as a community, as the light, and show people the way so they don't go down that dark road, because we're going up from here.
Well, they're going over after everybody's currency.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
As a currency. And for most people, it's fear, or it's losing their job, or their family's going to be mad at them. Everybody's got a currency to get that jab. And I have no currency. I have no
currency either. I'm good.
Right.
But because the price, there is no price on my soul.
I go with God.
There's no price tag. And I know that God is my protector. And I know that I am so in alignment that, so there will be some crazy things that happen in this world over the next years. But when you are in that alignment with yourself and the Creator, we will step above those timelines and our outcome will be different.
You're so right.
Love it.
templeofthenewatlantis.org or ameeraatlantis.com if you want to look at a personal session, or I do courses and things like that online. And then I have a YouTube channel also.
I love that, Ameera. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast. Taylor, would you like to also as well tell about your amazing readings and everything that you do?
Of course, yeah. You can book me at taylorfortune.com. I do tarot, astrology, life coaching, and fitness consultation. And BA, tell us a little bit about you.
Of course. Okay, so Taylor and I just started also a YouTube channel. It's under Taylor Fortune, and we talk about what we're on right now, because this is a badass channel, and what you're looking at is exactly our YouTube channel. So my main business is Badass/US, which is my backdrop right now, and I have an astrology collection of lashes, 100% cruelty-free mink lashes, which I'm wearing now. Hit me up. I got a website. I got an Instagram. Let's talk.
Nice.
All right. Thank you so much, Ameera. That's a wrap for everything. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you
so much.
That's myself.
Of course. Thank you. Bye-bye.